2 this afternoon. Center of low pressure east of Florida, 1,004 millibars, run of the mill. Tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, as it moves off the New England shoreline, we're down around 955 millibars. That is a tremendous drop, almost 50 millibars in 24 hours. That's bombogenesis. Has to be at least 24 in 24 hours. Why does it matter to anyone on the ground? Well, the faster that pressure drops, the more the winds respond in kind. And this is going to be a big wind maker across the coast, especially in New England. So here's the timeline. Snowing in North Carolina this evening. That will move up across the mid-Atlantic coast. Heavy snowfall confined close to the coastline as we head through the overnight and skirting the big cities like Philly and New York. The heaviest snowfall falls in New England throughout the day tomorrow. All wrapped up. This is a storm that will likely have an eye feature tomorrow. If you're looking on satellite, it'll have the appearance of something that would look like a hurricane. So here are the snow amounts. Boston, a foot or a little bit more is possible. New York, about 4 to 6. Philly, 1 to 3 on that very back edge of the snowfall. Now, this is going to drag in another blast of really impressive cold. These are mainly all record cold temperatures for highs as we look into Friday and Saturday, and at night, widespread sub-zero readings. This may be the coldest blast of the entire stretch that we have seen here, Jeff, since dating back on Christmas. There is a little bit of relief as we head closer to the middle of the month. It's going to take a while to get here, but a January thaw may be in the offing. All right, Eric, and bombogenesis it is. Thank you very much. Relatively tropical in Alaska now today. It was 40s and raining in Juneau. Steve Bannon is not the only target of the president's ire. Last night, Mr. Trump mocked Kim Jong-un and North Korea's nuclear capabilities in an extraordinary tweet. David Martin at the Pentagon has more on this.
No American president has ever made such a blatant nuclear threat. Responding to Kim Jong-un's boast that he has a nuclear button on his desk, President Trump tweeted, "I too have a nuclear button that is bigger and more powerful, and my button works." We don't know what Kim thought of the tweet, but it was unsettling to former Vice President Biden, who once had the authority to hit the button if something happened to President Obama.
This is not the stuff to be tweeting about. It is a very, very, very difficult problem.
It's not an actual button, but a briefcase called the football carried by an aide who follows the president everywhere. It contains the codes the commander-in-chief would need to order the use of nuclear weapons. Whatever you call it, American nuclear forces are incomparably more powerful than North Korea's. This one submarine carries more warheads than Kim Jong-un has in his entire arsenal. So the president's tweet is not an empty boast. But would he really use nuclear weapons against North Korea? Former Senator Sam Nunn is founder of an institute attempting to reduce the risk posed by weapons of mass destruction.
No, I think it's a throwaway remark that is careless, but I don't think it signals a change in nuclear policy.
American policy has long been to use nuclear weapons only in extreme circumstances, such as a nuclear attack against the United States. Nuclear war remains all but unthinkable. And according to Nunn, making threats about it should be unspeakable.
I think it increases the risk of miscalculation or what I call war by blunder. To me, that's the greatest danger here, and the heated rhetoric on both sides creates a whole lot more risk in that regard. We could easily have a war nobody intended, nobody wanted.
If it comes to war, the U.S. should be able to destroy the North Korean regime without resorting to nuclear weapons, which could spread radioactive fallout over allies like Japan and South Korea, not to mention China and Russia. Jeff?
David Martin, thank you very much. Now look at some of the other stories we're following in tonight's evening news feed. Vice President Mike Pence swore in 2 new senators today. Alabama Democrat Doug Jones, who won a special election for the seat once held by Attorney General Jeff Sessions, and Minnesota Democrat Tina Smith. She was appointed to replace Al Franken, who resigned over allegations of sexual misconduct. A 25-year-old man accused of setting up a deadly swatting prank appeared in a Los Angeles courtroom today. Tyler Barris will not fight extradition to Kansas. The police say he made a bogus 911 call last week that sent them to a house in Wichita, where an officer mistakenly shot and killed an innocent man. Gas prices will go up again this year. According to GasBuddy.com, a gallon of regular will average $2.57 in 2018. That is the highest since 2014. Rising oil prices are to blame. There is much more ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News.
There's dressed to kill, and there's dressed not to be killed. Talking about armored clothing.
A passenger forgot to pack his patience.
Could elephant seals know each other by name? Researchers studying the animals on the California coast say that could be the case. So that's not just a grunt.
Definitely not, no.
There are plenty of good booking sites, but your ideal hotel may only be listed on one or several, but for very different prices. You really want to check them all? Instead, use Trivago to compare these offers and find your ideal hotel for the best price. Hotel Trivago.
Nick was born to move. 3 toddlers won't stop him, and neither will lower back pain. Because at a Dr. Scholl's kiosk, he got a recommendation for our custom-fit orthotic to relieve his foot, knee, or lower back pain from being on his feet. Dr. Scholl's, born to move.
I realized that $100,000 is not exactly a fortune.
103.
How long did it take you two to save that?
Oh, a long time.
Long time.
Then it's a fortune.
I told you we had a fortune.
Get closer to your investment goals with a Conversation.
Every morning, I thought I had to make a choice. Do I use a toothpaste that whitens my teeth or one that's good for my teeth? Now I don't have to choose. My dentist told me about new Crest Whitening Therapy, so I tried it.
From Crest 3D White comes new white.
We've got room.
Their armored vest repeatedly stopped bullets fired point blank from a 9mm handgun.
You have level 3A, which will stop up to 44 Magnum.
In Miami, J.J. Wood tried on armored jackets, part of a separate clothing line developed in Colombia as a defense against drug cartels.
You know it's there. You're comfortable, and you have, I guess, just that peace of mind.
Aspetto's co-founders say 85% of their customers work for U.S. government agencies. But they also sell to foreign VIPs, oil executives, and everyday Americans.
When there's an Orlando shooting or a Vegas shooting, does business go up? Unfortunately,
Sadly, yes.
Is it a dramatic increase?
Yes. We had a grandma that contacted us and wanted a ballistic sweatshirt.
It's illegal for convicted felons to buy armored clothing. Background checks aren't required by law, but Aspetto runs them anyway, in a business where taking precautions has come into fashion. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Fredericksburg, Virginia.
When we come back here, an update on a charity that's become a winner after a last-minute touchdown pass.